Based on the roster as it stands now, what should realistic expectations be for this year's team?
Leah?
I guess
Yeah,
I'll
you start.
Not a playoff team. I know they're better, but better than sixth to last is not playoffs. It's 10th to last. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking lower middle of the pack if I had to get, not even bubble. I mean, who knows what, like run the tape on this one when they do that.
I know, exactly.
It's so hard to say because this team always defies every expectation, but realistic, I think like the one step below the playoff bubble team. They could have a stretch this season where they go on a run and we're going to think, what is this like? Should we think about playoffs? And then like they're going to crash and burn. That's what I think.
This is hard because so many things fell into place last season for them to get to 70.
Yeah.
I said this was a team that was going to tease the bottom mark of 57 all time for points. I was wrong because they get up to 70, but several players had career years. The goaltending was much higher than expected. This team just had the mullet magic at home. So many things to lead to that. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were a year ago on points. I think they get below 70 points, even with the upgrade in talent. I think it's a lot to ask for, unless they continue. Maybe they're not done. And we talk about Dumba cutting onto this team, because there's my concern, is I think they're going to give up a lot of goals still. I think they'll score more or be on a similar scoring pace than they were a year ago by adding Zucker and Kerfoot, but I am concerned about their ability to stop some of the high-skilled players in this league. And this league is built on superstars, and they're going to have a hard time defending, I think. So I'm concerned. I don't think they finish much higher than they did a year ago.
Okay. I think from a team perspective, a realistic goal would be to try and push for somewhere around the 80-point barrier, to get close to 80 points. That would be a step forward for them from a team perspective. I share some of the same views that you do, Petey, though, and I worry about this back end. They're not starting the season with Shane Gostisbehere and Jacob Chychrun, even though Jacob Chychrun didn't play all that much. But they're not starting with some of those guys. So you add Zucker and Kerfoot, but you took out other things. I still have concerns about their back end. I wonder if mullet magic will continue into another season, or if teams will have figured that out by then. I don't know. I don't know that this team is markedly better than last season's team. I mean, you can look at the forward group and say, yes, it is. And maybe that core takes another step forward. And that's a big thing to consider here. If Clayton Keller and Lawson Krause and Nick Schmaltz and Barrett Hayton are better, this is going to be a better team. I guess that's the group of players that I'm looking at that will decide the fate of this team. And I think that's the way Bill Armstrong wants it to. That is his core. You guys will dictate to me what happens next for this team. So it's on their shoulders.
And the other wild card too, Craig, is Andre Tourigny. And he's shown that his ability to coach players up to and exceed their expectations and where their bar is set has been proven. And honestly, after talking to him at the ice den over the development camp, I would never bet against the guy. So to the fans that think, is this a playoff team? Gosh, it's so hard to make the playoffs in this league that I'm not sure they can. But there are going to be moments this year where you go, maybe. I agree with Leah. I think we're going to go through stretches and go, gosh, they're going to tease us. They'll tease us into Christmas. And then I just don't think they have the horses. But don't bet against Andre Tourigny.
Ogie said 75 points. So we'll see. And I do think that like the over-under line set at the beginning of the season by the sports books are really interesting. So we'll have to pay attention to what BetMGM has their point total set at.